you mean click?
For this video, you will need a working version of Android Studio, as well as your own project in Android Studio. Let's get right in. So as you can see here, there is no directory for animation. So let's right click New Directory. We'll name it Anim, short for animation. And this is because all of our animation files will go in here. Let us start by creating a new animation in this directory. So right click on the Anim directory, New Animation Resource File, and there you go. Come up with a creative name for your new animation. This one, we'll go ahead and call it Fade In. This is what a blank animation looks like. It has a set, and it has all of these constructors that we can use. Let's go ahead and use the alpha because we're fading. Great! Now, all we have to do is set the from, the to property, and also an optional property that's not going to be put in there for you is going to be the duration. You put this in there by typing in Android : duration and putting the value in the quotations after it. It's always best to reverse your animations, or in other words, it's always best to create a new animation resource file with the opposite animation. Let's talk about scale. You start off with the size that you want. It could be relative. In this example, it is. It's 1.5 to 1. Or since we're expanding, you should definitely go 1 to 1.5. 2 is a little bit excessive as it multiplies 2 by the current size. But in this example, we're only doing 1.5 times the total size. So, you'll also, in this case especially, your application is responsible for undoing this. So you will want a shrink command that takes it from this 1.5 that we're setting it to, down to 1 like normal. That way when the animation is done with it, it will be seamless and everyone will be happy. Your users will be happy, you will be happy, your computer will be happy, your phone will be happy, everyone will be happy. Marvelous joy. Now, here's the pivot X and pivot Y that we were talking about. So it's as if you're taking a pen and putting it on a piece of paper. It's 50% and 50% normally because you want to hold that pen in the center. Please remember that it is not a mandatory requirement that you reverse your animation, but it is a huge improvement on your app's performance part that you undo or shrink back what you just expanded. In this example, I'm going to be using 4 progress bars. These progress bars are independent of each other in that whenever one of them is faded out, the other 4, or the 3, will be faded out at a later time, based on which ones load first. Alright, now for the coding part. I'm in an activity right now, and you can only animate from an activity. No helper classes can do it. We reference them by typing in the class name animation and giving it a name. So we're going to create 2 classes in this tutorial, fade in and fade out. We're going to set them in the onCreate method so that way they're initialized if any other methods in this activity need to access them. All that's left now is to initialize them by calling animationutils.loadAnimation, including this activity as a context, and finding the animation resource file that we need. So in this case, r.anim.fadeout, because we're setting the fade out variable. And we will do the exact same thing with the fade in, except for it's actually going to be fade in instead of fade out. Alright, there is only one more thing to do now. make sure that all 4 of these case statements, fire and fire correctly. So on my progress bar, I've labeled it 1, and I'm going to call start animation along with that fade in animation we said earlier. I'm also going to add it to the rest of my statements. And I have 4 of them. Remember, we have 4 progress bars in this example. Okay, after we start the animation, it will fade out. However, after it's done animating, it will leave it on the screen. So instead of fading back in like you would assume, it would jump back to full alpha. That is because we didn't set it to invisible. So let's do that now. In order to make this as smooth as possible, let's go ahead and add a delay. We're gonna set the delay to the duration of the fade out. Alright? So inside of this, we're gonna move that set visibility into these post delayed blocks. After that, you'll have your final product. You'll be able to fade out progress bars. How about that? Thanks for watching, and I hope you learned a whole lot. Sugar Nation signing out.